any new procedures that we would be ready to talk about?
Well, I think that in terms of actual clinical research trials, we're involved in one research trial looking at a new technology to look at complex types of aneurysms that in patients that currently are really not candidates, not really good candidates for anything other than open surgery. So there's one research trial that is going on in that space, and then mostly what's happening is that we know that there are patients that are having because of COVID. Obviously, there are people are delaying therapy, and there's been a sort of a backlog of patients who maybe haven't been able to be seen or treated. We just recently treated one with a big thoracic aneurysm in the chest that we're sort of part of this delaying care that's been going on as a result of the pandemic. So that's kind of another issue. Historically, I think it's important to know that MCVI has been involved with the development of less invasive therapies for aneurysm disease. We did, I think, the fifth patient in the United States way back in 1993, 1994, to be treated less invasively here at MCVI. And since then, we've had a long-standing commitment to less invasive therapy, and have been involved in many of the research trials that have gone on with the delivery of new devices.
Okay, that's helpful. Is there any technology that we're using at MCVI? Anything that is visually new for us there that we haven't seen before that we're using related to aortic aneurysms? Or is it typically the technology we've had in place already?
No, I don't know that I have something that would fulfill that category. We're working on some things that could be transformational, but we're not sure whether that's going to be coming here or not because of expenses and a number of other things. But nothing, I think that would be, let's say, visual. Can you hold on for just 1 minute? I'm not sure how to.
Yes, of course.
Hang on for 1 second, okay? I'm sorry. There's, I think, a patient trying to get on this other line.
No worries.
Just 1 minute. Hi. Yeah. Apparently, I'm getting a call from his wife or something. I just sent you a text. Libby called from the office and feels that he might have mesenteric insufficiency. Okay, and I didn't know they were sending him over. She said she was going to put in a request for a consult for us for a referral to me for a possible for an angio and intervention. So if you want to get him upstairs and see what we've gotten on him, that would be good. I can't. I got a couple of calls and I won't be available till 2:30 to actually see him. Yeah. And he's full. Is he full today? Yeah. Well, is any of the scheduling? I don't know whether maybe Erica could see him or something. I can't even get to the lobby. As far as I'm concerned, we just need to schedule him. I don't need to. Yeah, we can just schedule him. Mesenteric angio with possible intervention. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. All right. Bye. Bye. Sorry, the patient showed up at the front door at the institute. We weren't expecting.
Oh, boy.
Okay, I'm back.
We won't take too much more time, Dr. Captain. This is really just for us to gather info. And this seems to be, from what Carmen tells us too, it seems to be an area where it's a little bit of a priority for MCVI. Is that still correct? that we're trying to?
Yeah, I think in general, there was a time when we were the go-to place. Sorry, fire drill. Hold on, let me get off the speaker. Yeah, there was a time where we were kind of the go-to place for patients, from all the way from Palm Beach, Naples, whatever, because many patients and we still remain the place where people are told the only option that they have is open surgery. And we, using existing technology and other innovations, have been able to treat patients who successfully, who have been offered only open surgery. But it is a priority for MCVI. You have to grow our presence in aneurysm therapy here.
And besides yourself, who would be the experts, maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 physicians at MCVI that would be kind of the lead if there is a media opportunity?
Probably Dr. Watch and perhaps Dr. Rua.
Okay.
And among the interventionalists, Dr. Skiro and Dr. Powell.
Okay.
Dr. Pena.
Okay, that's helpful for us to know.
We're talking about aortic aneurysms now, right?
So we've also seen a lot of correlation, especially the media has covered it extensively between COVID specifically and aortic aneurysms. There was a study that was about aortic disease in the midst of COVID and what repercussions that might have on patient care. Is there anything you can say about that? I don't know if you've had a chance to look at that study.
Linking it to COVID? Well, at this point, while we have direct connections between COVID for other types of vascular diseases, for aneurysm per se, we don't know. That's the bottom line. Whether it accelerates aneurysm ruptures or other types of things, we don't have. I don't know that there's a direct connection between COVID and aortic aneurysm disease. I think that we have continued to see things like aortic dissections and dissecting aneurysms. By the way, I don't know what so the scope of what aortic aneurysms, if we're talking about aortic aneurysms, the scope of aortic aneurysms includes everything from the heart valve, down to the abdomen and pelvis. And we still are seeing patients with aortic dissections, spontaneous aortic dissections. This is kind of the thing that killed John Ritter, the actor, years ago, while he was on, in rehearsal. These are sudden events, and so MCVI still gets numbers of patients like that. And then other types of aneurysms which we want to treat before they rupture. And one of the things that's different between, let's say, aortic aneurysms is that generally, and let's say other vascular diseases, is that it's one of the ones we call a silent killer because they can be present and can be growing and not cause any problems or become aware to the patients. The patients don't become aware of this because they're not detected until something really bad happens. And so a good part of focus is for people to really be aware if they have a family history of aneurysms, that they, screening for aneurysms over the age of 55 and early detection is very important. So getting the word out about patients who have members of their family who may have had an aneurysm, that they should do something about it and seek help from MCVI or resources at MCVI to make sure they don't have aneurysms is an important part of the message, I think.
What's the screening for an aneurysm? Is right within that category of high risk?
Generally, most of the times it's an ultrasound of the aneurysm of the abdomen.
Okay. And we do that at MCBI, or is that an outpatient?
Yes, we do. We do that in our ambulatory. Yes, we do. We do that in our ambulatory space anywhere within MCBI in the ambulatory space or at the institute facilities anywhere.
Okay. Anything, new or different? I mean, you're pretty media savvy and have always in the past given us great information. So we're kind
yeah, I know have an angle on it. I think that nothing is really in terms of a new thing that could be the focus of, let's say, a news release or something like that. Other than I mean, a patient story or something like that, or treating aneurysms in the context of the COVID environment. We just did a great complicated thoracic aneurysm case here about 2 weeks ago. The patient went home. Patient Spanish speaking. I think the son would be very appreciative of the care and the complexity of it. But one of the things about one angle is that complex aneurysms involve that MCVI brings this complex team approach type of thing. We had obviously we had interventional radiology, vascular surgery, neurosurgery, and cardiology and anesthesiology, all coming to bear to help this patient in one procedure. It's one of those dog and pony shows in room 8.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting in itself. Having all
what's that?
That's interesting in itself. It's just having, a room of experts all coming together to figure out the best approach for this patient.
Right. Well, yeah, and one of the things at MCVI is that it's always a multidisciplinary team. That's an important message.
Absolutely.
The patients are always taken care of by multidisciplinary teams to ensure that they get the right treatment at the right time in the right place.
Absolutely. Gabby and John, I think they're both focusing on similar but different opportunities. So Gabby's with Edelman and helping us a little more on like the trade publications, and so we get a little bit more clinical there. But John writes a little bit more for consumer facing in our community. So John, anything that you want to ask or add based on what Dr. Katz has already mentioned that would be helpful for you and some of the readers of our blog?
Well, no, thank you, Dr. Katz, and appreciate it. And I can touch base with Carmen on this thoracic, aneurysm patient would be a good patient testimonial. We can follow up with the doctors on that one. And you mentioned, is there a current, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, is there a current aortic aneurysm study in which MCVI is taking part in currently?
Yes. Yes, there's one. It's called the Chivas. It's a very unique device. Number one, we participated in the first generation clinical trial, but it's a device that's intended. It's a study of using this device to treat patients who otherwise would require surgery.
Right.
One of the things about endovascular, minimally invasive therapy, is that it can't always be applied in every patient. You need to have favorable anatomy,
right.
To make sure you get a good result. So we still do a certain amount of open surgery, even here, maybe, let's say 20%
right.
of cases. And so it's a new device that's directed at trying to have something to offer those patients.
And
it's where the aneurysm, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Who would be the principal investigator for us, or?
Dr. Pena.
Pena.
Dr. Pena.
Perfect.
Tino Pena.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. That's perfect.
It's called the Chivas study by Endologics. You could probably look it up.
Okay.
Or I can send you some material.
Yeah, and I'll touch base with Carmen if we need it. I'll have her touch base with Dr. Pena. And we'll take it from there, and maybe on the patient testimonial. And And like you said, there's no COVID connection yet, straight with, I know that we've talked with Dr. Chaparro, some really good articles about the heart muscle and heart failure and that, and COVID.
Yeah, well, there's all, yeah, I mean, that's really, yeah, yes. As far as we know, the linkage of COVID to aneurysm disease is not the same as myocardial disease, pulmonary embolus, clot formation.
Right.
I mean, we know that COVID-19 clearly has a big vascular component to it, but not a direct aneurysm that we know about.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, I think that's good for me. Like I say, I'll touch base with Carmen and follow up on everything else, but I'll turn it over to Gabby.
I'll give some more thoughts to an angle.
Okay.
Now, we may be doing one of these Chivas cases. It's called the Chivas as a compassionate use case.
Okay.
And if so, that could be an opportunity.
Perfect. Yeah.
For something.
Perfect. That'd be great.
We're going through the process of getting FDA approval because it's all going to be off-label and what's called compassionate use.
Right.
That's use of technology in a situation where there's nothing else available for a patient.
Great. Excellent. Excellent. I'll turn it over to Gabby, I think, if you have any questions.
Gabby, any other questions, Gabby?
No, I think this was great. I'd love to get more information about the research whenever you send that over, and get that so we can read a little bit on that, and as well with the patient testimonial. If we can get information about that, we can explore some angles there.
Okay. All right.
Great.
All right.
We can do that.
We will keep you. I know you're busy. This was helpful just
Okay.
for space.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you all very much. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right.
Likewise.
Take care.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.